You face the boss of blades.
Hello everyone, it is time for round 2, Knight versus ZigNewtons. Knight is on Kiora, and ZigNewtons is on his Control Barbarian Nahiri. Full mull for Knight here. None of those cards particularly good early. There is an Arcanist, a Birds, a Mist Raven, and another Birds. Getting the fish. Nahiri showing the Path of the Barbarian. And Knight is on Circle of the Druid. So it's time to begin. Freshman Stand gives each player at the start of their turn a random multicolor card, which may or may not be better than Tropical Island. Raging Goblin on 1, taking the damage, going to 22. Aggressive start here from ZigNewtons. Refreshment Stand, change teams being not particularly good, I think, in this matchup, because there's not a lot of things that you want to remove on ZigNewtons' board. They're all pretty small, but he has the Birds. Raging Goblin going in for 4. That is a lot of damage, so blocking with the fish. And Knight's going to drop the Wolf here. Gain back the 2 damage from earlier. And let's see how ZigNewtons responds. Shocking the Wolf, so that is unfortunate. And then sorting up the Raging Goblin, swinging for 4. Blocking with the Birds, trying to preserve the life total. And he draws a Crab. Crab being a pretty good blocker here. Playing the Birds and the Crab. Alright, so now we're back to ZigNewtons. And they have a Sky Knight Legionnaire. Using the sword on it, axing the Raging Goblin, Birds blocking the Legionnaire, Crab trading up with the Raging Goblin. So from here, he does have the Barkide. He could just play the Barkide for mana, or he could maybe Mist Raven or change teams. Personally, I think the change teams might be the play here. But he's just going for the mana, which might be kind of greedy here. But he is leaving an open board. He is at a full 24 health. Willful Smith from ZigNewtons. And being able to swing for 5 uncontested. And Knight is up to 8 mana. 9 mana at this time. So he could try and Primal Summoning into something really good, or save the mana, get a Leviathan. He's keeping them empty mana crystals, I think, as long as he can. I think the play is to Mist Raven, hit the Legionnaire, and hope that his opponent just doesn't have anything good to take care of stuff. There's the change teams, and now it is hitting the Legionnaire. So that does deal with the Legionnaire, but Willful Smith uncontested on the board, blitzing Minotaur to take advantage of the opening and swing for 11, putting Knight down to 8. But Knight gets his Leviathan. It is Arithmethes, who is okay, but he isn't particularly great here. He's just a big dude. So Knight digging with the Primal Summoning. Daybreak, Primetime, Crab, and a Channeler. Not particularly good hits for what he would want. Dropping the Brontosaurus. And the Crab or the Channeler, I think, at this point. I would do the Crab just because the Channeler can attack, and he's inevitably going to be blocking with it. So Crab probably would have been the correct play, to be honest. Okay, there is Emberling. Another Emberling. Fair fight. Okay, that is an insane hit. Not even needing to use the third skill, Indomitable Strength, of the class. And that forces 8 damage exactly. That is lethal. Taken out by the card that his opponent gave him using Refreshment Stand. What an upset. Okay, well now we're going on to game 2. I think Knight just put in negates to try and counter his opponent's Barbarian class. As you saw in the last game, he didn't even use the third skill Barbarian class. Mistraven, Channeler, Crab. Keep the Channeler and the Crab for some early interaction. And a grudge match too. Looking like a solid starting hand. Circle of the Druid. And Path of the Barbarian. No Knight going first this time, so he can stop his opponent from just Raging Goblin for the damage. Refreshment Stand, gonna give him Body and Soul. Body and Soul is pretty good. It gives 2 blockers. So he gets the Crab on 1. Awesome blocker. And he does draw the Wolf for a turn to play. Interestingly enough, yeah, Zig just passes back on 1. No turn 1 play for him this time. Now playing the Wolf. Shocking the Wolf, as we saw, predictable. And playing the Axe here. So it's back to Knight. He's just going to Windmill Slam the Barkhide that he just drew. Immediately 1 out of 3, and that lets him swing with the fish because the fish got buffed by the Barkhide. And Zig dropping a Stoneforge Mystic. Let's see what he gets. Okay. So he gets haste, so he's just immediately swinging in with a 3-4. Knight taking it. And yeah, so he's going to grudge with the Crab to 1-for-1, trade up on the Stoneforge, swinging in with the fish, and then playing out a Channeler, which is a 3-3. Cannoneer, buff to a 6-2. Interesting. So Knight's going to swing in with this Channeler here. And Zig is going to take it. Then drops down a Prime Time. Smite the Monstrous, taking out the Prime Time. And a mindless Rage, finishing off the Crab. Swinging in with the Cannoneer, blocking with the Channeler. So Knight's just going to drop a Brontosaurus. And swing with this fish. This fish has dealt, what, 3 or 4 damage so far. That's crazy. Okay. Zig going in with some Emberlings. Sorting up an Emberling and then swinging in. The fish has served its purpose finally, denying 4 damage. And it doesn't matter here. The Emberling is just going to take 2 off. And then heal back the Brontosaurus. Izzakron Scepter from Knight. He could grab Invert. He's going to grab the Hunter's Moon because he does have Daybreak Ranger in hand to give him haste and be able to swing for removal. Swinging in with the Brontosaurus and playing the body and soul that he got from his refreshment stand, adding some more blockers and some more attackers. Change teams on Brontosaurus. Ironic. They're just ironic. He gave his opponent change teams off refreshment stand this time, but that is a pretty crazy hit. Emberling. Swinging in with the Emberlings. That's what they do. Taking Knight to 19. But that does leave ZigNewtons pretty much exposed. Izzakron Scepter. Warding Flame. Warding Flame actually does it here because Warding Flame, Daybreak, Hunter's Moon gives haste. And that is exact lethal at 5+3+1 plus another 1 from the Warding Flame, giving Knight the game on exact lethal. So that brings this match to a 1-1. It's not over yet. Alright, now it is time for Game 3 in this Round 2 of the Mythic League 9. So he has the Treetop, he has Izzakron Scepter, and Panharmonicon. Swing with the fish to assert dominance. The fish does technically enter the game before the game starts, so if you go first, you actually can swing with the fish. Evil Twin being a pretty interesting card, actually. Because it will, I believe, take the buffs from the Nahiri sword, though I don't believe they keep them. Okay, dropping the Treetop, look out here. That way he's got a blocker that can actually trade up. Swinging in with the Sordid Raging Goblin, as tradition. 4 damage a lot, fish trades it off. Okay, Knight can just play the birds here and the wolf. And get some blockers up. So the longer the game goes, the more Knight is in a position to be able to win. But he does have the inevitability if he does get to trigger Indomitable Strength. So swinging in with both. Axing and sorting the Raging Goblin here. So Knight's just going to probably trade with both of those creatures, to be honest. Yep. Knight getting a birds. We have Panharmonicon on the birds, but not choosing to use the Panharmonicon yet. Then Core Recruit with a Mindless Rage to take out one of the birds here. And that's going to be pretty interesting here because Knight has Evil Twin. He could Evil Twin, Evil Twin, Core Recruit. So that does actually minus on the Core Recruit. So its armor serves no purpose in this regard. And that lets Knight deal the 2 damage with the Core Recruit. But Blazing Minotaur with the sword. Birds will block that. Barkhide Growth could be really strong here because it does let him swing in with a 3-2. And he is going to swing in. No reason for Zig to block here. And then Knight is going to go in, use the Tide Shaper, and not Panharmonicon the Tide Shaper here, but he will go up to 10 mana on his next turn, I believe. So let's see if he gets something good. Scathing Glare. That is the card he got from the refreshment stand. Indomitable Strength. Taking the 5 from Indomitable Strength. And deciding if he wants to go ahead and block here. Blocking with the Tide Shaper. Personally, I probably would have just blocked with the Core Recruit. Because the Core Recruit is has the armor. You'd have 3 creatures on the board. So that's hard to deal with. But he gets Lorthos here. Lorthos could be big, but Zig does have a lot of removal in his deck. So Lorthos might be a risky play here, especially if it gets removed by a Smite the Monstrous or something like that. It's going all in, playing the Lorthos. Pretty evenly split on the buffs here. Doing the Lorthos again. And Core Recruit going in. Which, yeah, 11 damage. That is a block. So Zig has no removal, it looks like, because he's just playing the Inferno, axing it up, and hidden in for 10 damage, which is pretty good. Puts Knight to 7, but I don't think he has anything that is an out at this point to Knight's board. And if Knight gets any form of removal, then, yeah, Lorthos is just going to be able to trample in regardless of what's happening here. But there is a Grudge Match on Lorthos, and that is going to do it, because that does take out Zig's only creature, and then lets him swing in for 27, overkilling his opponent's 19 health and taking the game. Congrats, Knight, on turning around this set, going 2-1, and that will put you in the finals.
I had a gas off, oppers fool me, so I put my mask on. Keep the tool me, gotta keep the 9 high. Flexing Louis V, yeah, keep my cash on. Sticking true to me, I never had a gas off. I'ma pop off, yeah, I said I'll pop off.